A recent report by Politico indicates that Donald Trump is using cell phones that are not secure and could potentially be hacked if they haven't been hacked already. To give you the details on this, Trump apparently regularly uses at least 2 government-issued iPhones, one a burner device capable of only making calls, and another that's loaded with a Twitter app and a handful of news sites. Now, Trump's call-only phone, this is where the problem lies, has a camera and microphone, features that can be exploited by hackers. So under the Obama administration, when Obama had a government-issued phone, that phone was only able to make calls. It did not have a microphone or a camera on it. But Trump's phone is obviously very different, and it is vulnerable to hacking. Now, as for the phone Trump uses for Twitter, which is the phone that he probably uses the most, the president reportedly has rebuffed his staff's advice to swap the device every month, saying it would be, quote, too inconvenient.
Well, I wouldn't want to inconvenience you. The other thing I have to say is lock him up. Lock him up. Because this is literally one of the charges they had against Hillary Clinton when they were chanting lock her up. Not just a private email server, which is very close to this, but no, she literally had a phone where she would use the phone both for her private emails and for her State Department emails. And that was a phone that was more secure than these. He has 2 phones that are less secured, but they said, oh my God, she exposed all of our government information on an unsecured phone line. Lock her up. Lock her up. So I'm sure that the Trump voters, being principled people that they are, now believe that Donald Trump should be arrested immediately for the same exact thing.
Well, look, based on what we've known so far from investigations into Russia and other foreign governments, it appears that at least members of Trump's campaign loved having very close ties to foreign governments that had very specific financial interests, right? And that's one of the reasons why they were so eager to get Trump elected or support Trump over Hillary Clinton. So I don't know, maybe he's friends with all these foreign countries and he doesn't have to worry about anyone hacking him. So who knows? Maybe he's less of a threat.
So, I mean, look, by the way, if you're on an unsecured phone and you're the president, you're not an average schmo, okay? Paranoia is justified. The foreign governments like China, but you could keep listing them, Russia, Israel, Saudi Arabia, doesn't matter, even probably some of our allies like Israel, Germany, etc. They will all try to hack the president's phone, and they're pretty good at it. So they might have all of his phone calls. Now imagine if they started releasing those. What do you think Trump said in those private phone calls? Especially the people who raised money for him and then wanted deals? Oof. Good. I told you, the one reason that I was fairly sure that he's not going to get away with any of his crimes, etc., is because of how stupid he is.
Well, he always gets himself in trouble with his own words on social media, and it's interesting to see him, place himself in an incredibly vulnerable situation just so he can use these unsecured phones to put out those tweets that sometimes get him into trouble. But one part that really stood out to me in Politico's reporting was that Trump has gone for as long as 5 months without getting his Twitter phone checked by security experts. So that's a big deal. 5 months is an incredibly long time, but the White House has responded to this report and they're saying, no, everything's fine. A senior West Wing official told Politico that the call-only phones are seamlessly swapped out on a regular basis through routine support operations. Because of the security controls of the Twitter phone and the Twitter account, it does not necessitate regular change-out. I'm not buying that at all. And remember, this story came forward because of staffers who went and spoke to Politico and told them what was going on with these phones. I mean, these leaks keep happening. They can't stop the leaks. But I think that leaks like this are so important because we need to know what the vulnerabilities are and maybe someone can talk some sense into him. Who cares if you're inconvenienced? You're the president of the United States. That's a giant inconvenience, right? Anyway.
But he's got to have his Twitter account. Oh, but I'm mad at somebody. I got to tweet right away.
But that's fine. Have your Twitter account. Just make sure the phone is secure.
But remember, he's a dotard. So he has. like the new phone, he'll have trouble figuring out. But I just got used to this phone. I just figured out how to do the all caps. So now, look, the NSA, we know, can and does have a database of recording of our conversations. Now, they say that they're collecting just the people that we called and the phone numbers that we called, not necessarily the content of the conversations, but there's very good reason to be skeptical about that. So if our NSA can do it, and we know for a fact that they can do it, the question is whether they are doing it, right? You think the NSA equivalent in China can't do it? And the president's, like, I sometimes cover up and I know now a lot of people do, right? Like the camera on your laptop or whatever it is, right? And back in the day, people were like, oh, you're crazy. Now everybody's like, well, yeah, that makes sense. We know, we've done how many stories about how they could look through the camera. Like a lot of the sexual predators, they figure out a way to access your computer, they look through the camera, then they take naked pictures of you and then extort it, right? And this is an old trick. The president's phone has a camera and a microphone.
One other thing I wanted to mention, like people forget stories because especially in today's news cycle, there's too much going on. Of course, it's easy to forget. Remember, North Korea hacked into the email systems for Sony Pictures, right? Like,
oh, yeah.
So it's, yes.
I forgot about that.
And right now, we're in the middle of this conundrum with North Korea. By the way, we're gonna get to that story later on today's show. But it's terrifying to know that in the midst of these negotiations regarding denuclearizing North Korea, they could potentially have the ability to hack into Trump's phones because those phones are incredibly vulnerable.
By the way, tyt.com/join to get the whole show. And my final thought is, though, on the upside, we're going to have some hilarious video of Donald Trump one day. Like, imagine on his phone, like, hey, what is this? Man, I'm so angry. Somebody get me a cheeseburger. I can't wait to tweet against the New York Times, the failing New York Times. Oh, the pictures of him, with his bald spots and his un-orange complexion in the morning or whenever he does that thing. So it's disastrous for the country, but at least they'll be amusing videos. 2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below, then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.